The alien marketplace was alive with strange sounds and glowing colors. Tall creatures with shining eyes traded crystals, metals, and machines that hummed softly. Small insect-like beings carried baskets of glowing fruit, while tall lizard-like merchants argued loudly about prices. The air was thick with smoke, light, and voices from dozens of worlds. It was a place where every species came to buy and sell, but very few humans were ever seen here. In the middle of this crowded place, a small cry rose, cutting through the noise like a sharp blade. "Please make an offer for my mom. She'll cook you delicious meals." The voice cried. It was a child's voice, high and desperate. Aliens froze in their steps, their eyes turning toward the sound. The crowd slowly parted, and there stood a little girl, human, her clothes worn, her face dirty but her eyes filled with fire. The aliens stared in shock. A human child in this marketplace? That was impossible, many thought. Some creatures whispered in their own tongues, their voices hissing, clicking, or humming strangely. Humans were rare, humans were dangerous, and some said humans carried secrets too powerful to be sold. Yet here was one, small and trembling, shouting into the alien crowd. She stood on a broken crate, so she could be seen. Her small hands cupped around her mouth as she repeated her cry. "Please, someone, buy my mom. She can cook meals like you have never tasted before." Her voice cracked, but she did not stop. She looked around with wide, pleading eyes, hoping anyone would listen. The crowd grew silent. Even the buzzing machines paused, their hums fading into the background. For a moment, the market seemed to hold its breath. Then whispers began to spread like wildfire. "Did she say cook?" One alien muttered, its skin shifting colors as it spoke. "Humans cook." Another scoffed, a tall, scaled creature with sharp teeth. "Cooking is nothing, machines feed us all we need," growled a thick, stone-skinned alien, crossing its arms. But others tilted their heads, curious. The word, cook, was old, strange, and powerful. It was not just food. It was something more, something alive. Even the merchants who laughed felt something stir in their hearts, something they did not understand. The girl's voice shook as she cried again. "My mom will give you meals better than your machines, better than your packs of cold paste, better than anything you know." Tears shone in her eyes, but she stood tall, refusing to bow. She was young, too young to be standing alone in such a dangerous place. Yet there she was, stronger than she looked. A shadow moved behind her. From the dim corner of the market, a woman stepped out. Her hair was tied back, her face pale with hunger but calm with dignity. Her clothes were simple, patched many times, but her presence was strong. This was the mother, the woman the girl had spoken of. The aliens gasped. A real human adult, right here, in front of them. Some backed away, their eyes wide with fear. Others leaned closer, their mouths curling with greed. Whispers rose again. "Impossible." One hissed, "Humans are myths." Another muttered, "But no, here she was, flesh and blood, standing tall despite the weight of every eye upon her." The mother placed a hand gently on her daughter's shoulder. Her touch was calm, steady, a silent message of comfort. She looked around at the crowd, her eyes scanning faces filled with suspicion and wonder. Then, in a voice quiet but clear, she said, "My daughter speaks truth. I can cook. I can prepare food unlike anything your machines have given you, food that will warm your body and touch your soul." A silence followed, heavier than before. The aliens did not know what to make of these words. Food that touched the soul? What nonsense was this, they thought. But in their hearts, something stirred again, a small pull they could not deny. One alien merchant, with 4 arms and golden rings clinking around its wrists, laughed loudly. "Cook? Foolish human? Who would pay for such a thing?" It mocked. But still, its nose twitched, as if already smelling something that was not there. The girl stepped forward, her fists clenched, her small voice breaking yet strong. "You don't understand. You have never tasted what she can make. Just give her a chance. Please, please, Make an offer. The crowd leaned in closer, some with greed, some with curiosity, and some with a hunger they could not explain. The marketplace was no longer buzzing with trade, no longer filled with sound. All eyes were now on one human child and her mother, and the question that hung heavy in the air was this: what could be so special about a human's cooking that a child would beg to sell her mother for it? The market was still silent, the strange quiet of many creatures holding their breath. The girl's words echoed in the air. Please make an offer for my mom. She'll cook you delicious meals. And now the mother stood before them, her shadow stretching long across the glowing stalls. Her eyes were tired, her hands rough from work, but her voice carried strength. The crowd of aliens stared at her as if she was both a myth and a threat. Her presence was calm, yet it carried weight. The insect-like vendors twitched their antennae nervously. The scaled lizard merchants narrowed their eyes, as if calculating her value. The stone-skinned giants folded their heavy arms, but even they did not step closer. The whispers grew louder. A human? A real human? They muttered. How can this be? The girl clung tightly to her mother's hand, her small fingers gripping like iron. She was scared, but also hopeful, because her mother had always told her that cooking was more than food. It was memory, it was love, it was life itself. But here, in this alien world, where meals came from machines and taste was forgotten, the word cooking sounded like magic. And maybe it was. The mother spoke again, her voice stronger this time. My child does not lie. I can cook, and I will cook for anyone brave enough to taste something they have forgotten. Her words carried into the quiet space, every alien ear and sensor turning to catch them. Some sneered, some scoffed, but none could look away. Then, a tall alien merchant stepped forward, his body like a snake wrapped in golden cloth. His eyes glowed red as he hissed. Cooking is nothing, human. We eat nutrient gel. We eat machine paste. It is enough. But even as he said it, his tongue flicked nervously, catching the air as if searching for a scent that wasn't there. The mother bowed her head slightly. Machines feed your body, but I will feed your spirit, she answered softly. The crowd erupted in laughter. Sharp, buzzing, metallic, and strange. Some pointed with clawed fingers. Others slapped their tails against the ground. The idea was ridiculous. They thought, feeding the spirit, what nonsense from a weak human. But not all were laughing. A thin alien with translucent skin tilted its head, its glowing veins pulsing slowly. Spirit, it whispered in its language, a word long buried, a word it had not heard in centuries. For a moment, even that alien felt something stir inside, something forgotten. The girl saw the crowd's reaction and shouted again, her voice shaking but fierce. She can do it. She can show you. One taste and you will believe, I promise. Her eyes darted from face to face, trying to find one sign of mercy, one sign of hope. The marketplace seemed to spin around her, but she held on tightly to her mother's hand. A heavy silence followed. Then the snake-like merchant hissed again. Very well, little human. If your mother can cook, then let her prove it. But know this, if she fails, you both belong to me. His red eyes glowed brighter, and the crowd gasped. This was not just curiosity anymore. This was a wager, a trap, a cruel game. The girl's heart pounded, but before she could cry out, her mother squeezed her hand gently. The mother stepped forward, standing tall before the snake merchant. Her eyes calm, her voice steady. You may threaten, but you cannot own me. Still, I will cook, and I will show you all what it means to be human. The crowd roared, some cheering, some jeering, all eager for spectacle. The insect creatures clacked their jaws. The stone-skinned giants stomped their feet. The glowing beings pulsed with light. The market was alive again, no longer with trade, but with anticipation, for something they had never seen before, something they did not understand. And then, from the edge of the gathering, a new figure stepped forward. He was tall, wrapped in a dark cloak, his face hidden beneath a hood. The crowd fell quiet once more, because they knew this man, or at least, they thought they did. Whispers spread quickly. A wanderer. One said, "No, a warrior." Another corrected. Others shivered. "No, he is something more." The man walked slowly, his boots echoing on the stone ground. When he stopped, he looked first at the girl, then at the mother. Finally, he turned to the snake merchant and said in a deep, steady voice, "You will not claim them. I will make an offer." The entire market froze. No laughter now, no whispers, only silence. The mysterious man's voice carried a weight that even the strongest alien warriors could not deny. He did not shout, he did not threaten, but his words cut through the air like a blade. The girl looked up at him, her eyes wide with fear and hope mixed together. The mother studied him carefully, her face unreadable, and the crowd waited, leaning closer, wanting to know what kind of offer this man would make. Would he buy the woman as a servant, like the others had suggested, or did he see something more, something even the mother herself did not yet reveal? The snake merchant hissed angrily, his coils tightening. You dare interfere? What do you offer, wanderer?" The mysterious man raised his head slowly, and for the first time, the crowd saw his eyes, calm, sharp, and unafraid. "I offer freedom," he said simply. "Not chains, not slavery, but freedom." The crowd erupted in chaos, some roaring in anger, others gasping in shock. Never before had such words been spoken in this marketplace. Freedom was not for sale. Freedom was not given. Freedom was taken. And yet here was this man, offering it to a human woman and her child. The girl's heart raced. Her grip on her mother's hand tightened. For the first time, hope felt real. Not a dream, not a wish, but something alive. The mother stood straighter, her tired eyes shining with a spark the crowd had never seen. And the question now hanging heavy in the air was no longer about cooking. It was about destiny. The marketplace shook with noise, voices overlapping in a storm of disbelief. Freedom, the man had said. Freedom for a human and her child. No alien in that market had ever heard such words spoken aloud. Slaves were bought, deals were made, lives were traded like coins, but freedom was never offered. And yet, here was this cloaked figure, standing calm and steady, daring to challenge the way of things. The snake merchant hissed furiously, his coils twisting tighter. "You speak of freedom in my market, wanderer. You insult me. You insult all who trade here." He spat, his red eyes blazing. The crowd growled, clicked, and whispered, torn between fear and excitement. Some wanted to see the human punished, some wanted to see her tested, and some, though they would never admit it, were curious about what freedom truly meant. The little girl's heart pounded, her eyes wide as she looked at the mysterious man. He was tall, his face still half hidden by his hood, but his voice was steady like iron. She did not know who he was, but in that moment, he felt like a shield standing between her mother and the world. Her mother, calm yet cautious, stepped forward, her voice soft but filled with strength. "Why?" she asked him. "Why would you make such an offer for me, for us?" The man's gaze lingered on her for a long moment before he answered. "Because what you hold cannot be bought. It cannot be owned. It is worth more than gold, more than machines, more than power," he said. "You are human, and that is enough." The words carried like fire, sparking through the crowd. Aliens shifted nervously, some scoffing, some sneering, but none able to fully ignore the weight behind them. The snake merchant roared, "Enough of this nonsense. If you think she has value, then prove it. Make your offer, wanderer, and let us see." The mysterious man did not flinch. He reached into his cloak and pulled out a single coin, dull, scratched, and worthless by the eyes of merchants. The crowd gasped in mockery, laughing, hissing, and stomping in scorn. "A coin? You insult the trade." One alien spat, its insect wings buzzing angrily. Another laughed. "She is not worth even that. A human is worth chains, not coins." But the man held the coin high, his voice cutting through their noise like thunder. "This coin is not payment. It is a symbol," he said. "With it, I offer not ownership, but choice. The choice to walk free, the choice to decide her own path. The crowd fell silent, not because they understood, but because they had never heard such words before. The snake merchant hissed again, furious, his coils rattling with rage. You dare change the rules of the market? No human is free, no slave walks away. If she does, every deal will fall apart, every order will break. His eyes glowed brighter, and his tongue flicked in fury. But the man did not back down, his voice calm and unshaken. Perhaps that is what this place needs. Perhaps the order you fear to break is already broken. The girl squeezed her mother's hand tightly, her voice trembling as she whispered, Mama, what does he mean? Her mother bent slightly, whispering back, He means we might have a chance. But her eyes never left the man, searching his hidden face for truth, for reason. Why would a stranger risk so much for them, when no one else dared to even look at them without fear or greed? The crowd grew restless, their hunger for spectacle rising again. Prove her worth. One shouted, its voice like the screech of metal. Yes, prove it. Another chimed, its many eyes blinking in rhythm. The voices rose, louder and louder, until the market shook with demand. Prove it, prove it, prove it. They roared. The snake merchant hissed a cruel laugh, his coils sliding across the stone. Very well, let her prove her claim, let the human cook. And if her food fails to move us, they both belong to me. No more talk of freedom, no more foolish words. The crowd roared in agreement, their voices a storm of noise and hunger. The girl's face paled, her small body shaking, but the mother placed a steady hand on her shoulder once more, calm even in the face of danger. Her eyes locked with the merchant's, her voice low but unwavering. Then I will cook, she said, and you will see. The mysterious man nodded once, as if he had expected this all along. He slipped the coin back into his cloak, turning to the mother with quiet assurance. You will not fail. I believe in you, he said softly. The girl looked at him, her fear clashing with hope. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to trust, but her heart still trembled. The crowd pushed closer, the merchants shoving stalls aside to clear space. Machines were silenced. Fires were lit, the marketplace itself shifting into a stage. All eyes burned with anticipation, hungry not for food, but for spectacle, for proof. The girl's small voice rose again, breaking through the chaos. You'll see, you'll all see. My mom can do it, she cried, her eyes shining with fierce pride. Her words struck like sparks. Though she was trembling, though she was afraid, the snake merchant hissed, Let it be so. Human, cook, and prove your worth. The mother stood tall, her hands steady, her heart racing, but her spirit unbroken. The mysterious man stepped back, his eyes never leaving her, and as the firelight grew, casting shadows across the crowd, the girl whispered softly to herself, This is it, Mama. This is where everything changes. The crowd leaned in closer, the air thick with suspense. The marketplace, once a place of trade and noise, had become something else entirely. Now it was an arena, a trial, a moment that could shift the fate of one woman, one child, and perhaps more than they could yet imagine. The fire crackled in the center of the marketplace, its light dancing against the alien stalls. The crowd pressed closer, their eyes glowing in the shadows, their breaths heavy with curiosity and hunger. Never before had a human dared to speak of cooking here. Never before had freedom been offered in this place of trade and chains. And now, everyone waited, the weight of expectation pressing down like stone. The mother knelt near the flames, her movements calm but filled with purpose. She touched the tools given to her, crude pots, strange metals, alien fire that burned blue. Yet her hands did not tremble, her eyes steady as she prepared. The little girl stood close, watching her every move, her heart racing with both fear and hope. The mysterious man remained silent, his cloak still, his eyes sharp as they followed the mother. The snake merchant hissed from the edge, his red eyes glowing with cruel delight. She will fail. Humans are weak. Her tricks are worthless. When she fails, I will take them both, he sneered. The crowd laughed and jeered, some throwing coins at the ground, some shouting for her to hurry. But beneath the noise, there was tension, a strange pull none could ignore. Something about the human mother felt different, as if she carried a secret no one else could see. The girl squeezed her hands together tightly, whispering, "Mama, you can do this. I know you can." Her mother gave her a gentle smile, a smile that carried strength though her face was weary. "I will not let them take you," she whispered back. "I will show them what it means to taste life." The mysterious man finally spoke, his voice deep and calm. "Do not let their noise shake you. They laugh now, but they will not laugh after the first bite." The mother looked at him briefly, nodding, though doubt flickered in her eyes. Why did he care? Why did he stand for them when no one else dared? The girl, too, glanced at him with wonder, her small voice trembling. "Who are you?" she asked softly. But the man did not answer, his gaze fixed on the fire, as if waiting for something only he could see. The crowd grew restless, stomping, buzzing, clicking in strange rhythms. "Cook, human, cook," they shouted, their voices rising like a storm. The marketplace was alive again, not with trade, but with hunger. Not hunger of the body, but hunger for proof, for spectacle, for something unknown. The mother began, her hands moving with memory. She placed the strange fruits, the alien grains, and scraps of meat into the pot. The fire hissed, the steam rose, carrying scents that mixed strangely in the air. The crowd wrinkled noses, some gagged, some leaned closer in surprise. No one had smelled anything like this before. Not from machines, not from packs of cold gel. The girl's heart swelled with pride. "They smell it, Mama. They really smell it," she whispered. The snake merchant scowled, his coils shifting uneasily. He hated it. He hated that the crowd leaned forward now, eyes glowing, voices softening into whispers. He hissed, "Tricks, only tricks. The smell is nothing. Taste will prove the truth." The mother stirred the pot, her movements careful, her mind racing with memories of Earth. She remembered firelight back home, simple meals cooked with love, bread that rose warm, soup that healed cold nights. And now, she carried those memories into this alien world, pouring them into every stir, every touch. Her daughter's eyes shone, her faith burning brighter than the flames. "You're showing them, Mama. You're showing them what it means." The mysterious man stepped closer, his voice low but firm. "They will taste more than food. They will taste memory. They will taste life. And then they will know." The girl blinked, confused. "Taste memory?" she whispered. The man looked down at her, his hidden face unreadable, but his voice certain. "Yes, child, because that is what humans do. They turn memory into strength, into flavor, into power." The mother finally lifted the pot from the fire, her arms steady despite the heat. She placed bowls before the crowd, small portions, simple but glowing with warmth. The first alien stepped forward nervously, its insect body twitching, its many eyes locked on the steaming food. The crowd leaned closer, silent now, waiting for the first bite. The insect alien sniffed, its antennae trembling, then slowly took a bite. Its body froze, its glowing eyes widened, and for a long moment, it did not move. The crowd murmured nervously, unsure. Then the alien made a strange sound, a soft hum, like music, like relief. Its eyes filled with something none of them had seen before. Tears. The crowd gasped, some stepping back, some stepping closer. "What is happening?" they whispered. The insect alien shivered, then said in a trembling voice, "It feels like home." And with that, it fell to its knees, holding the bowl close as if it carried treasure. The crowd erupted in chaos, some shouting it was a trick, others demanding a taste. One by one, more aliens stepped forward, each taking a bite, each falling silent, each trembling with the same strange feeling. The stone-skinned giant tasted, and his rough face softened, his voice breaking as he whispered, "It feels like my mother's embrace." The glowing being pulsed with light, saying, "It feels like warmth, like peace, like a life I lost long ago." The girl's eyes filled with tears, her small body trembling with joy. She turned to the crowd, shouting, "See? I told you. I told you my mom can do it." The mother's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths, but her eyes glowed with strength. The mysterious man stepped forward, his voice cutting through the chaos. "This is no trick. This is no machine. This is the gift of being human. The gift you cannot buy, cannot own." The snake merchant roared, his coils slamming the ground. "Lies, all lies," he hissed, though his body trembled with unease. But the crowd was no longer with him, their eyes fixed on the human woman and her food. Their hunger had changed, no longer for trade, no longer for power, but for something deeper, something real. The mother stood tall, her daughter beside her, the mysterious man at her back, and though the fire still crackled, the true fire was in the crowd, burning with questions, with longing, with awe. What had they just tasted? And why did it change them? And deeper still, why had only a human been able to give it? The firelight flickered across the market, glowing bowls in the hands of creatures who had never known such warmth. Steam rose into the cold night air, carrying scents that twisted through every corner, scents that whispered of memories long buried. One by one, aliens who had once mocked now tasted, their laughter gone, replaced by silence, trembling, and wide eyes filled with something new. It was not hunger they felt now. It was not trade. It was not the cold satisfaction of a machine-fed stomach. It was something deeper, something they could not name. The insect creature hummed as it ate, soft vibrations shaking its wings like music. The stone giant wiped a tear with hands rough as boulders, staring at the bowl as if it held his lost childhood. The glowing being pulsed with colors, colors that shifted with every bite, filling the space with light like a beating heart. The lizard merchant who had laughed first now stared at the stew in disbelief, his sharp teeth clicking nervously as he muttered, "What is this? What is happening to me?" The girl stood tall now, no longer trembling, her small chest lifted with pride. "See," she cried, "I told you. My mom is the best. No machine can make food like this." Her voice rang out across the market, breaking through the chaos like a bell. Aliens who had never cared for human words now listened, pulled closer not by fear or greed, but by curiosity, by longing. The mother stood in the center, her face calm though her heart raced. She watched them eat, saw their reactions, felt the storm she had unleashed. For years she had carried the skill, the memory of Earth's kitchens, the taste of bread, the warmth of stews. But here, in this alien place, she had given them something more than food. She had given them a taste of humanity. The snake merchant seethed at the edge of the crowd, his coils slamming against the ground, his tongue hissing in fury. "Lies, tricks, poison," he shouted, but even his voice trembled as the scent wrapped around him. His red eyes darted nervously, because even he could feel it. Even he could not deny the pull in his chest. But pride chained him, pride heavier than any metal. The mysterious man stepped forward, his cloak brushing the ground as he moved. He stood before the crowd, his voice steady and calm, yet filled with fire. "You see it now, you taste it now. This is not just food. This is what it means to be human." He spread his arms, his voice echoing through the marketplace. They turn memory into flavor, pain into strength, love into life. And when you eat, you remember, you feel, you change. The crowd roared with voices, not in anger but in awe, in confusion, in wonder. Some shouted for more, some wept openly, some simply held their bowls close, as if they were holding their own lost hearts. For the first time in years, the market was not alive with trade, but with emotion, with something no coin could buy. The girl looked up at the man, her eyes wide with shining hope. "You knew this would happen," she whispered, her small voice trembling. The man's eyes glimmered faintly under the hood, and he answered softly, "Yes, child, I knew." The mother stepped closer to the fire, her voice rising above the noise. "I told you, machines can fill your stomach, but they cannot fill your soul," she said. Her voice was not loud, but it carried power, cutting through every whisper, every murmur. And this is only the beginning. The crowd shivered, because deep inside, they knew she was right. Every bite had unlocked something, a door long shut in their hearts, a memory of warmth, of connection, of family. Even those who had never known such things felt them now, like echoes from another world. The lizard merchant whispered in disbelief, I remember my mother's song, but I have no mother. The glowing being murmured, I feel peace, though I have never known peace. The snake merchant bellowed again, desperate to hold control. Do not listen, do not believe. This is weakness, this is human trickery. He hissed, but his words were drowned by the cries of the crowd. Cries of hunger for more, cries of need for what they had just tasted. The market was shifting, slipping from his grasp, and he knew it. The mysterious man's voice rose again, calm but commanding. This is why I made my offer. This is why I will protect them, he declared. She carries something greater than wealth, greater than power, something that can heal what has long been broken. The crowd leaned closer, their bodies trembling with questions, with hunger for more answers. What do you mean? Voices cried. What can this food do? The man's eyes glowed faintly under his hood, and for the first time, his words carried weight like prophecy. This food can end wars, he said, his voice slow, steady, unshaken. This food can unite enemies, can break hatred, can build peace, because no weapon can touch the soul, but a meal can. The marketplace fell into stunned silence, his words echoing like thunder in their minds. The girl gasped, clutching her mother's hand tightly, her heart racing with a hope so sharp it almost hurt. The mother's eyes widened, her lips parting in disbelief, because even she had never thought her cooking could mean so much. And yet, she saw it now, in the tears of the stone giant, in the glowing pulse of the light being, in the trembling hands of the insect creature. Her food was more than food. It was power. The snake merchant spat, his voice shaking with rage. You dare speak of peace in a place built on trade and chains. You dare think a human's trick can undo the order of the galaxy. But the crowd was no longer listening to him. Their eyes fixed on the mother, the girl, and the mysterious man. They had tasted something beyond trade, beyond order. And now they hungered for it more than gold, more than power, more than fear. The fire crackled louder. The bowls emptied. The air filled with trembling silence. The girl whispered softly to her mother, her eyes glowing with pride. Mama, you did it. You changed them. And the mother, though her heart trembled, nodded slowly, her voice low but strong. No, child. We changed them together. The mysterious man turned toward the snake merchant, his voice sharp and final. The market has seen, the crowd has tasted, and the truth cannot be undone. And the question that filled the air now was no longer whether the human could cook. It was how far her gift would reach, and how much it would change. The marketplace trembled with noise, voices rising like a storm. Aliens shouted, cried, argued, their hands clutching empty bowls as if afraid to let go of the feeling they had tasted. The memory of warmth, of peace, of something deeper than food still lingered on their tongues. They wanted more. They demanded more. Their hunger no longer for trade, but for the strange gift of the human woman. The snake merchant coiled angrily at the edge of the firelight, his red eyes glowing with fury. He had mocked her, threatened her, promised her failure, and yet, she had won the crowd. His pride burned hotter than the flames, his tongue flicking with rage as he hissed, No, this cannot be. One meal does not change the market. One taste does not change the law. But his words sounded weak, even to his own ears. The crowd no longer looked to him, their eyes fixed on the mother and her child. The mysterious man stood like a shadow at their side, his presence calm, steady, unshaken, and that only made the merchant more desperate. He slammed his coils against the stone, the sound booming like thunder. Very well, he roared. If this is no trick, if her food is worth anything at all, then I will make an offer none can match. The crowd fell silent at his words, leaning closer, their eyes glowing in the firelight. For all knew the snake merchant was rich, his treasures endless, his power vast. From his coils, he pulled out shining jewels, glowing crystals, metals that hummed with power. He poured them onto the stone floor, the pile rising high, glowing brighter than fire. Gold from dead stars, silver mined from burning moons, gems carved from the hearts of comets. The market gasped, the wealth before them enough to buy armies, enough to rule worlds. The snake merchant's voice boomed, sharp and cruel. All this, human, all this I offer for you and your child. You will cook only for me. You will serve only me, and in return, you will drown in riches. The crowd buzzed with shock, some gasping, some trembling. Never before had such an offer been made for a single life. The girl's eyes widened, fear rising in her chest. She clutched her mother's hand tightly, whispering, "Mama, don't go with him. Don't leave me." Tears blurred her vision, her small voice breaking, but her mother squeezed her hand gently, her face calm though her heart pounded. "Do not fear, child. No treasure can weigh more than you," she whispered. The mysterious man stepped forward, his cloak brushing across the stone. His eyes glowed faintly as he stared down at the mountain of treasure. He did not move closer. He did not bend to it. His voice sharp and steady as he spoke. "You cannot buy her soul, snake. No jewel can own what she carries." The crowd froze again, the man's words slicing through the night. The merchant hissed furiously, "Soul? Nonsense. Everything has a price. Even humans, even freedom, everything can be bought." But the man shook his head, his voice low yet thunderous. "No, some things cannot be bought. Some things live beyond coin, beyond chains, beyond law, and she is one of them." The crowd stirred, whispers spreading like fire. "Beyond coin," they muttered. "Beyond chains." They asked each other, for their whole lives had been built on trade, on ownership, on the law of buying and selling. But now they had seen something no coin could give, something no jewel could match. The mother finally stepped forward, her voice soft but filled with steel. "I do not belong to you," she said to the merchant. "I do not belong to anyone. I belong only to my child and to myself." Her words shook the air, quiet but sharper than any blade. The girl looked up at her mother, her eyes wide with pride and love. For the first time, she saw her mother not as tired and worn, but as strong, unbreakable. The merchant slammed his coils again, furious, his jewels rattling across the stone. "You dare reject me? You dare reject wealth beyond imagining," he roared. But the crowd did not cheer him now. Their eyes no longer dazzled by his treasures. They looked instead at the woman, at her calm defiance, at her refusal to be bought. The mysterious man's voice rose once more, firm and commanding. "You see it now, all of you. She cannot be owned. Her gift is not for sale. It is for the stars, not for chains." The crowd shivered, for his words carried weight they could not explain. Even those who once mocked now bowed their heads slightly, their hearts touched by something they had never known. The snake merchant hissed one final time, his rage boiling. "This is madness. Humans are nothing. I will not let this stand," he spat. But even as he spoke, he saw it in their faces. The crowd was slipping from his grasp. The marketplace no longer belonged to him. It belonged to the moment, to the human, to the truth. The girl leaned against her mother, whispering softly, "You're stronger than him, Mama." The mother stroked her hair gently, her voice trembling but sure. "No, child. We are stronger, together." The firelight glowed brighter, casting long shadows over the jewels. But the crowd no longer looked at the wealth, no longer cared for gold or gems. They looked at the human, the girl, and the man. And deep inside, they knew the true value was not on the ground. It stood before them, alive, unbroken, unbought. The fire burned low, glowing embers crackled beneath the night sky. The marketplace was no longer filled with trade, no longer with the noise of bargaining and shouting. It was filled with silence, heavy silence, the kind that comes after something too great to ignore. The human woman stood tall, her daughter holding her hand, the mysterious man at her side. The crowd stared at them, their eyes wide, their bowls empty, but their hearts strangely full. The snake merchant's jewels still glittered on the stone, glowing brighter than the fire. But no one cared. Not one alien looked at them anymore. For the crowd had tasted something that jewels could not give, something wealth could not buy. They had tasted humanity, and it had changed them. The snake merchant hissed, his coils twisting with rage. "This is madness. I will not lose my market. I will not lose to a human and her tricks." He spat, but his voice no longer carried weight. It was hollow, weak. The crowd turned away from him, their loyalty broken, their trust shattered. He had offered wealth, but wealth no longer mattered. The mysterious man stepped forward, his cloak sweeping across the stone. He turned to the crowd, his voice calm but filled with authority. "You all saw, you all tasted. This woman holds a gift. Not for one, not for trade, but for all." He paused, letting his words sink deep into their hearts. "This is the gift of humans, the power to heal what war destroys, the power to bring peace where hatred burns." The crowd shifted, their whispers soft, uncertain, yet curious. "Peace," one muttered. "Unity," another whispered. Words that had no place in the market. Words long forgotten. Yet now they stirred again, brought to life by the taste of one simple meal. The girl looked up at the man, her eyes wide with wonder. "Mister, why are you helping us?" she asked softly. "Why protect us? Why risk yourself for us?" Her voice trembled, filled with both fear and hope. The man finally turned to her, his eyes faintly glowing under the hood. "Because," he said slowly, "you and your mother carry something greater than you know." The girl blinked, confused. "Greater?" she whispered. The man nodded, his voice calm but firm. "Humans are rare now, almost forgotten. But I have seen their strength, their resilience, their gift to turn even pain into hope and hope into life." He pointed to the crowd, still trembling with awe. "You gave them more than food, child. You reminded them of what they had lost. You reminded them of what they could be." The mother's eyes narrowed slightly, her voice cautious. "And who are you to know so much of humans, when none here believe in us?" The man was silent for a long moment, the firelight flickering across his hidden face. Then, slowly, he lowered his hood. Gasps filled the market. Creatures stepped back, some trembling, some whispering in shock. For his face was not alien. His face was human, scarred, weathered, but unmistakably human. His eyes glowed faintly, but they were the eyes of Earth, the eyes of her kind. The girl's mouth opened wide in shock. You're like us," she whispered. The mother stared at him, her heart pounding. Another human, alive, standing before her after so many years of believing they were alone. "Impossible," she breathed, her voice shaking. But the man only smiled faintly, though his eyes carried deep sorrow. "No, not impossible, only hidden, only scattered." The crowd erupted into chaos. "Another human," they cried. "There are more," voices demanded. Fear, awe, and curiosity shook the market again. But the man raised a hand, and silence fell once more. "There are still some of us," he said firmly. "We wander, we survive, we remember, and we wait." The mother stepped closer, her eyes locked on his. "Wait? For what?" she asked, her voice steady, though her chest ached with questions. The man's voice dropped low, almost a whisper, but every ear strained to hear it. "For the day when humans will rise again, not as slaves, not as myths, but as a people who will heal the stars." The girl's heart leapt, her tears falling as she gripped her mother's hand tighter. "You mean we're not alone?" she whispered, her small voice filled with fragile hope. The man knelt before her, his eyes soft now, his scarred face kind. "No, child, you are never alone, and your mother's gift is proof of that." The snake merchant hissed one last time, his rage burning. "You dare speak of healing, of unity? In my market? I will crush you all," he roared. But the crowd no longer stood with him. One by one, They turned their backs to him. The giant stone-skinned warrior, the glowing light being, even the insect creatures. They all turned away. His power was gone, lost not to war, not to wealth, but to a meal. The mother lifted her head high, her tired eyes glowing with strength. I will not cook for chains. I will not cook for greed. But I will cook for peace. I will cook to remind you what life truly means, she declared. The crowd erupted in cheers, not of trade, not of deals, but of hope. For the first time, the market had seen something greater than wealth, greater than fear. The mysterious man stood again, his hood now hanging loose, his human face uncovered. He looked at the mother and the girl, his voice low but strong. Your journey begins now. There is more waiting for you than this market, more than you can yet imagine, and I will walk with you. The girl smiled through her tears, her heart bursting with hope, and the mother, though weary, nodded slowly, her voice soft but filled with fire. Then we will not walk alone. The fire burned low, the jewels glittered untouched, the snake merchant hissed in the shadows, powerless, and the crowd whispered of what they had seen, of what they had tasted, of what had been revealed. Not just food, not just a meal, but a promise. The promise that humanity was not lost. The promise that their gift could heal even the darkest corners of the galaxy. And in the heart of the marketplace, a mother, her child, and a wandering human stood together, not as slaves, not as bargains, but as something far greater, as a beginning,